A man or a woman who was a judge and impeached and found to be on the wrong, he must now sit in a panel.
Hello there, guys, and welcome to Daily Updates. The former judge, Dr. John Hlophe, has been elected to form part of the Judicial Service Commission of South Africa. Now, the selection of John Hlophe was not welcomed by everybody, especially the DA, who's opposing John Hlophe forming part of the JSC. Now, during the debate, the ANC did not want to work with the DA because they feel like there are no rules that guide them in terms of who to go to the JSC, who to nominate, and who not to nominate. At the end of the day, John Hlophe was supported by a majority and now is going to form part of the JSC interviews. But a very interesting interview by Fikile Mbalula responding to John Hlophe. Please listen to this.
And the GNU partners to rectify this thing and not to stand out and not do something about it. It will be an indictment if this were to be allowed. A man or a woman who was a judge and impeached and found to be on the wrong, he must now sit in a panel and judge others and question them. It is morally bankrupt and incorrect. Must be corrected by the same parliament. So our chief whip, in word, like I said, raised the issue that when it comes to impeachment, it is moot. He did not say that we agree that Hlophe must be in the bench. That is why when he speaks himself, he says, I no longer want that title. I'm a doctor, I'm qualified. Whatever doctor he is a doctor, and that is it, he's an MP. But we've got to deal with this lacuna in relation to our statutes in Parliament, in which we have now been visited by the Hlophe phenomenon right inside Parliament. We need to deal with that. Members of Parliament, including our caucus, must then consider this matter and put it on the table and then address it. It's a question of parties engaging among themselves and talking about it and attending to it.
Now, before we go on with the matter of Fikile Mbalula, there is a matter that I really want to point out of the DA. Remember, the DA is the same party that says we don't want to see John Hlophe as part of the JSE. But you look back, they have a member of parliament who forms part of the JSC by the name of Breitenbach. The history tells us that Breitenbach left or was removed from the NPA due to misconduct. Breitenbach was acquitted of accessing and deleting the documents on a laptop during a time in the NPA. But although she was acquitted, there's been a lot of controversy regarding that issue. And actually, the rumors are that NPA wants to revisit that case of Breitenbach. So it looks like the DA is not really perfect. Breitenbach is a member that the MK party can actually point and say that, well, she is acquitted. But really, there was a lot of controversy. As much as John Hlophe was removed, you also have a member who was part of the NPA, and there was a lot of controversy. Shouldn't you really keep quiet because you are not perfect? Now, she left the NPA due to misconduct and went to join the Democratic Alliance. She's in the Democratic Alliance. He's forming part of the JSC. Now you have John Hlophe. He was removed by Parliament. He was a judge. The most qualified, a highly qualified judge, Dr. John Hlophe. Well, a highly qualified former judge, Dr. John Hlophe. He was removed by Parliament. He goes on to be a member of the MK party. The MK party elects him to go to the JSC. As he goes to the JSC, the DA comes and says that we are objecting to him being part of the JSC because he has been removed by Parliament. What a contradiction. You don't want a highly qualified man to interview judges. More like he's going to be giving them guidance on how to go on or even on how to select a suitable judge. Now the DA says we don't want to see him part of the JSC, forgetting that they have a member in the JSC who also has a history. I mean, come on, DA. You don't want Hlophe, but you know that you have a member also that was surrounded by some controversy. Why do you push for John Hlophe to be out when you also have a member there? While John Hlophe was selected by the MK party, who got voted by a lot of people. Now, why don't you want him to form part of the JSC? I believe that the DA, by going after John Hlophe, they are actually being unfair. Let the men go there, interview the judges. Let us watch on TV as these judges are interviewed, and let's see who's incompetent and who's competent. You need the best brains to be able to guide and tell you who to select. By wanting him to go on the side, it's more like them saying that we are afraid of the man because we thought we killed the man. Now he's back. Resurrection is what we don't want to see. And the matter of Fikile Mbalula, I mean, for him to go there and say that, well, it has to be challenged, he cannot go there to form part of the JSC, is really disappointing. The ANC made a move to say that they are not going to support the motion of the DA. Now, what the ANC needs to do as a whole, as a package, they have to stand together and say that we agree, there are no rules, John Hlophe must go there. Now, to come and say that it must be reviewed, it must be challenged, is really disappointing. It's more like wanting to kill the man, knowing very well that you have taken everything from him while he was a judge by removing him. The best thing you can do is leave the man. If really controversy is what you're afraid of, maybe the brains that made him a doctor and a highly qualified judge is what we need in terms of picking the right judge for the future. The people have decided. Now the ANC need to sit back. The DA really, they also need to sit back and let John Hlophe do the talking.
The first is that it is a matter of public record that Dr. Hlophe lost the status as a judge of the High Court of South Africa as a consequence of a finding of gross misconduct by the Judicial Services Commission. The decision to be taken today is furthermore not merely a political decision, but the exercise of a public power aimed at contributing to the establishment of the very same Judicial Services Commission. In the circumstances, it's a legal requirement of the National Assembly to act in a reasonable and rational manner. We are strongly of the view that it is neither reasonable nor rational to elect Dr. Hlophe as a representative of the National Assembly on the Judicial Services Commission. The second reason why Parliament should not elect Dr. Hlophe is to be found on the grounds I've just mentioned, if you listened, Honourable Member. The second reason why Parliament should not elect Dr. Hlophe is to be found in the constitutional obligation which we as members of the National Assembly enjoy to assist and protect the judiciary in order to ensure its independence, its impartiality, its dignity and its effectiveness. Madam Speaker, even if the majority today holds the view that any person who is fit and proper to be a member of Parliament is fit and proper to be a member of the JSC, it must follow that a large number of applicants to be interviewed by the Judicial Services Commission going forward will object and apply for the recusal of Dr. Hlophe.